Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back. Today's daf is Niddah Chaf. We begin at the first white line, Shachar Kacheres. Back to the Mishnah, where we learned that there are different types of reds that qualify as Dam Niddah, which is Metame de Isha. We learned from a pasuk that it's meant to be red, but red is more complex than you may think. There are different types, different families of reds. And within those groups, we have shades, some darker, some lighter. So in the Mishnah, we learned that in total we have four. Mishnah says five, but really the fifth is black, which doesn't qualify by virtue of its own blackness, rather because it originally was red and then it got discolored, and that's why it qualifies as Dam Niddah. So what kind of black are we talking about? Shachar, black, kacheres, a certain ingredient which they use to make black ink. So that type of blackness is your sample black regarding Dam Niddah as well. Amar Rabba, Barafuna. When we speak about the cheres she'amru, that's the one that they put into the ink. So basically it was used as an ingredient which was soaked together with the other ingredients to make ink. So we're speaking about that type of setup, as opposed to, Rashi says, let's say you take the cheres and just throw it into plain water to dissolve. That's not going to have the same degree of blackness to qualify. Tanya, Namihachu, we find the same in the Brisa. Shachar kacheres. So the control color of black is the one used, but that's the cheres. In what setup? Shachar she'amru joy. The black that we speak about is the cheres inserted into the ink recipe. Asks the Gemara, so then why don't we just say straight out joy? If this is the black element within the ink, we'll just say black as ink. Joy. Yomar joy, because if you would say joy, I would think maybe even the lighter runoff qualifies. Havamina ki pchechusa, like the light element, the deduce of the ink, which sort of flows to the top of the ink. Therefore, the Tana has to explain to us which element, the blackest element of the ink. That's what we're talking about. Ki charusa deduce. It's the cheres of the joy. So it's the black element that sort of sinks to the bottom. That's going to be used as a sample color for your black Dam Niddah. Ibaylu. Now the question is, balacha or biyaveshta? Are we speaking about in its liquid form, or even once it's dried up? You could take a piece of this material and use it as your sample. Toshma, here's a raya that the reference here is actually dry. The Rabbi Ami, what did he do? Pali kurta did you. So he took a kuret, a little piece of diyai, of ink, he crumbled it up and used it as a sampler for his Dam Niddah. So apparently, that's the way to go. Okay, so when the Mishnah says shachar kacheres, we're speaking about the blackness of ink. Once it's dried up, you use that as your control color to determine the blackness of the Dam Niddah. Amar Rav Yehuda Mashmol. Here comes some more examples, some more variations of black. Kikir, if the Dam Niddah is like black wax. Kedyoy, like ink. Uka'anav, like a blackberry tmeya. That qualifies as the proper black. V'zui sheshaninu. In fact, that's what we learned in the Mishnah. After presenting the cheres, color as your control color, it adds amayk mikan tmeya. Well, that's only at a minimum. But if you get deeper black than that, you're certainly tamei. As these colors just mentioned are. Amar Belazar. What if it's kazayis, like a black olive? Kazef is like pitch, ucha'irev, like a raven tar. That doesn't qualify, because that's more pale than the cheres. V'zui sheshaninu, as we went in the Mishnah, deya mikan, it's lighter than the blackness of cheres tar. So cheres is sort of the transition point. From there on down, deeper, is qualifying, but if it's lighter than cheres, it's tar. Ula Amar, he says that I'll give you a localized example. Nowadays, reference point to the blackness in the Mishnah. Ula Amar kalabusha siyua, like the garment that's worn in the place siyua. Black garments. Ula ikla pumbedisa. There was a story of Uklo came to the town of Pumbedisa. Chazil Utai notices this Arab merchant who's wearing a black garment, the lavish lavusha, uchma black, amalu. She turns to the Talmudim, he says, look, that's the black in the Mishnah. Shachar desnan, when we speak about black in the Mishnah Kihai, it's exactly like that. Oh! So they converged on him to grab a sample, a souvenir off his coat. Martum they poured the boot, they started shredding pieces off his and finally they paid him for it. They paid him $400 for the, to take his, to completely take it and use it in the base medrash so that we know the precise color of the shachar for Dam Niddah. Rabbi Yechon Amar, here's another nowadays, example. Elu kelim hol yarn. The blackness in the Mishnah corresponds to the black garments that the bathhouse attendants wear out in the far lands. Aboyim dinasayam. You mean they wear black? Rabbi Yana, we have a story. Rabbi Yana turned to his family, the Banav. He says, Banav, my children, please, when you bury me, take care that my shrouds should be of the right color. Al tikburuni. Don't bury me not black or white. Lo b'kelim shachayim, not wearing black, but lo b'kelim lebanim or white. Why? Listen to his humility, Rabbi Yana. Shachayim says, don't cover me with black, because black is the color of mourners. That's fitting to the members of Gehenna. And maybe I'll be zoicha not to be in Gehenna. Maybe I'll merit ve'eya. I'll end up, finding myself in Gan Eden, and here everybody's wearing white as a festive, color, and I'm wearing black. Ve'eya ka'av, I'll be like a mourner between the grooms. Likewise, don't dress me white. Levanim. Why? Shemalayaska, perhaps I will not be zoicha. Rabbi Yana is speaking about himself. Maybe I won't be zoicha to Gan Eden. And I'll be chas v'shalom in Gehenna, where it's all black, and I'll be wearing white. I'll be sticking out like a sore thumb. Rather, dress me, somewhere in between. Parv, where I can blend in either setting. Ela b'kelim hol yaron. Dress me in red, like the bathhouse attendants wear. Aboyim dinasayam. Alma lavuch mininu. Apparently it's not black, it's red. And Rabbi Yechon refers to them as black. And we say not, lavuch meninu. Like Kasha, it depends what we're talking. Haba glima, haba pseira. Their glima, their actual garments, is red. When Rabbi Yechon referred to the black, he's talking about pseira. Rashi says, mappa, sudden, sheets or different towels, those are black and can be used as a sampler for the Dam Niddah. Amar b'dam Shmuel. V'chulam, all the different types of questionable, colors. Ein boitkin ela al gabi matlas levana. You want to really distinguish its color? It has to be placed on a white material. So it can only be really fully distinguishable if it has a proper white background. So it gives you a proper contrast. But if it's a colored background, you're not going to be able to really determine if it's a qualifying color. When it comes to black, there it's different. The contrast is red. So place it on red, and that gives you a proper contrast. There's no machlokes between him and the previous shita. They're talking about different things. He's talking about black, which needs to be on red. The other Amir was speaking about the other shades of red. Those need a white background. If Shmuel agrees that black belongs on red, then he should have said it. Lema should have said, Shmuel, chutz mishachar, all on white background except for black. Elamar Rav Ashi, says Rav Ashi, b'shachar guf k'mivlagi. Yes, there is a machlokes regarding the placement of the black. Shmuel says all, including black, should be placed on white. And the second shita disagrees. When it comes to black, it can be more, properly contrasted if it's on red. Amar Ula. So we have the various families, so to speak, of reds discussed in the Mishnah. We have the Adaim Kamaka, Adaim like the Charkim plant, etc. And we have the black as well. So within these groups, if you ever were involved in painting your house, if you go to the paint store, they give you this huge book. You can find hundreds, maybe thousands of different shades of colors. And it's not just different shades, different groups. So within the gray, you can have, red gray, blue gray, green gray, right? And each one of those groups, each one of those categories of gray, they're different shades, they're different types of gray, have shades, lighter, darker, even darker. So we know there are different categories of red. But what about the darkness of it? So the Mishnah gave us control colors. Adam is kamaka. The other one is keren karka. The other one is like the diluted wine. And these represent different categories, different types of red, not just shades, they're different types of variations of reds. Now within each class, how deep, how dark, how sharp does it have to be? What if it's deeper than the sample color in the Mishnah? What if it's lighter? Amarula. Kulan, and all of them, Omek Mikan Tame, if it's deeper than the sample color in the Mishnah, it certainly qualifies. But if it's Deya Mikan Tor, if it's lighter than that, it's Tor. Kishachar, just like the Mishnah, spell that out by the black. Right? Shachar has to be Kecheres. Deeper is Tame, lighter is Tor. Same applies to the reds as well. So why did the Mishnah single out black? If really, the same applies to all reds. Why did the Mishnah single out black? It's like, there's room to think maybe black wouldn't fall under this rule. Because look, black isn't really getting its merit because of its blackness. It's because it was really red. So maybe the precise shade of black doesn't really matter. He taught us yesterday, Shachar, black really is Adamhu. It has its yichus from its original red. Ela Shalaka, but he got disqualified, discolored. So maybe the precise shade doesn't really determine. Perhaps even if it's lighter than the Shachar Kecheres, it still qualifies. That's why he comes and tells us no. That the Shachar also has a very specific shade. And if it's lighter than that, it's tar. Okay, so this is the first shita, first of 4 shitas on this matter. Ula, who says that in all reds or the black, the control color in the Mishnah is what determines. If it's darker, yeah, you're in. But if it's lighter, it's tar. Rabbi Ami bar Abba Omar, he says like this. B'chulan, he says, when it comes to the black, yeah. If it's cheres or deepa, yes. Lighter is tar, but red, even if it's a bit lighter, it's okay. B'chulan amak mikan tamei, on all the reds, if it's deeper than the sampler in the Mishnah, it's still tamei. Deya mikan amitamei, even if it's lighter, it's tamei. Chutz mishachar, except for the black. Because if it's lighter, then it's not really black. So why did the Mishnah even bother giving us those, those references to the control, colors? If in any case, it can be lighter than that. La fuke deo de deo, as opposed to super light. So if it's darker, yes. If it's a bit lighter, it's okay. But if it's very faded, then even by the reds, it doesn't qualify. So the point of mentioning the karka, etc., that it has to have some strong resemblance to that redness. It can't be super faded. That of course would not qualify. There's another version of this opinion. Rami bar Abba Amar v'kulan, regarding all the reds, amayk mikan tahar, de mikan tahar. It has to be precisely as the sample color in the Mishnah. If it's even darker, tahar. Lighter, tahar. Except for black. Chutz mishachar, where or there, if it's deeper, black is black. So if it's deeper, it still qualifies. Okay, that justifies the listing in the Mishnah, because those sample colors have to be met perfectly. Bar Kapara Amar, he had a fourth opinion. V'kulon amik mikan tomei, de mikan tor. And all the reds, deeper is tomei, more pale is tar, just like by the black. Except chutz mimezek, except for the one that relates to diluted wine color. There, it has to be exactly as such. Shamak mikan tor, de mikan tor. Deeper or lighter is tar. Bar Kapara, who's the author of this last opinion, who says it has to be exactly by mezek. Adiu levedachi, amiku levedachi. So in fact, he was presented with a shaila, dam which had this, wine color, and they sort of tested him. They brought him that sampler. They darkened it a bit. He says, no, it doesn't qualify. It's tar. They made it lighter than the standard. He said it's tar, right? Adiulei, they made it lighter for him. V'dachi, he was mentire. Amikule, they made it deeper. V'dachi. Amar Chanina, we're impressed. Kamanafish Gavra, look how great his expertise is. Look how great this man is. The libe that is inside, Kishmaitze, is perfectly in sync with his, position, with his opinion. He hit it right on. Uche Keren Charke. Okay, one of the sample colors is the red of the Charkem leaf. Tana, we learned in a brisa, lach v'liyavish, it has to be fresh as opposed to dried out, where it loses its complexion. Tani chadal. Now we have an interesting convergence of brises, which seem at first glance to contradict each other, but they don't really, as we'll see later. So one brisa says ketachtem lekelyon. Now Rashi explains that this charkem plant has multiple leaves. It's almost like a hadas misholosh, has like sets of leaves. And one brisa says ketachtem lekelyon. You have to sample with the lower leaf as opposed to the upper one. Tani, we have another brisa, exactly the opposite. Kelyon is the tan, use the upper one as opposed to the lower one. Tani, we have another brisa, kelyon koshkin ketachtem. The upper one will serve as a sampler, certainly the one beneath it. And yet a fourth brisa goes exactly the opposite. Tani idach ketachtem, use the lower one, like koshkin kelyon, of course the upper one. I'm not by it. It's all relative. It's all a matter of context. It's all a matter of which direction you're looking from. Plus a dori. There are three rows, the three clusters of leaves, with lots of tarfin. Each cluster containing 3 leaves, one on top of the other. So it's like 3, 3, 3, and each one has 1, 2, 3, one on top of each other. So basically a total of 9 leaves, staggered on top of each other, in 3 sections. What's the ideal sampler? The middle leaf of the middle cluster. That's the most pronounced. The leaf that has the most pronounced and stark redness. So that's the one you should ideally use as your control color. Nukait, you should take Dora Mitziyah, V'tarfa Mitziyah, the middle cluster, middle row, with the middle leaf of that row. That's the one you should take and use it as your sampler. So this will reconcile all the brises, as Rashi explains. That although ideally you should be using the middle of the middle, but really any leaf of that middle cluster works, any of the 3. But you can't use the upper cluster or the lower cluster. They don't really reflect, the true redness of the plant. So when the brisa says the upper and not lower, the brisa meant the middle row as opposed to the bottom. Right? So we have the top is 1, the middle is 2, the bottom is 3. The brisa says upper as opposed to lower, it means 2 as opposed to 3 beneath it. When the brisa says lower as opposed to upper, it means 2 as opposed to the 1 above it. Now within that middle cluster, so when the brisa says you can use the upper and certainly the lower, it meant within that middle cluster, right? So within that we have 1, the top leaf is 1, then comes 2, which is the ideal, then comes 3 beneath it. You can use the first one and certainly the middle one. That's even better. And then the next price, it says you can use the bottom one, that's number 3. And certainly, Elyon, the one above it, that's number 2. So it's all a matter of context. L'chatchila should be using the middle of the middle. But they have it, you can use the whole middle cluster, but not the upper and lower. Kiyosel Kamei de Rabbi Avo, when they came to Rabbi Avo to discuss this, Amrlu, he told them, Begushayo Shaninu. You can use these plants, provided they're still with their clump of soil, they're still alive. And, they present their proper color as opposed to once they're sort of dying and drying out. Kamimi Adam. The next red is like the mud water. Tani Rabbanim. What type of soil are we using? Kamimi Adam. Maybe Adam Shmeina. Because Beis Kerem brings this lush, fertile soil from Beis Kerem. Meitzav Aleh Mayim. And he floods it with water. The Rebbe Meir. Because Yudfas from the other place, because Besichni, a different place, because also from the other place, or likewise, which have similar colored soil. Tani Dach, if another brayso, maybe Adama, Shmeina, because Beis Kerem gets a hold of this fertile soil from this location, mix it with water, Klipas Hashum has the water rise a bit above it, so he puts enough water that it rises. Thin layer of water, the thickness of a garlic peel, that's enough. Ve'eshir l'mayim, there really is no exact quantification for that water, because, you know why? Because there's no quantification for the soil. Depends, it's all relative to the amount of soil you're going to use. Mishum ve'eshir le'afra. Okay, ve'ein boikin oitzan slulim. You can't test it when the water is clear, rather it has to be mixed in and muddied. Alachurin. So let's say the water sort of settled down. You have to remix it again. Now when you mix it, you can't use your hands. It doesn't work. You have to use a utensil like a spoon. The question was, hands off, to what extent? When you say, mix it with a utensil, as opposed to your hands. Means to say, as opposed to doing the whole test in your hand, don't throw the water onto the soil in your hands and mix it. But let's say it's already in a kli. That's what you mix. To go ahead and just stir it up a little with your hand, that would be okay. Or perhaps even that doesn't work. You should never mix it. Don't get your hands involved. Tashma, we have a raik shubait. How does he produce this sample? You can only use a kli. But I'm still not sure what he means. But of course, okay. So we know that it has to be in a kli. But how do we stir it? Can you use your hand? Take it, we leave it unresolved. He also made the Rabbi Ravua, and they came to Ravua for instructions. Amalu told them, you should know, this soil can only provide a proper sampling if it's in its environment, in its makom. Is that interesting? Rashi says, Eina adama doima l'adama l'mkayma. Has to be in its setting. But if the soil is transplanted from location, it loses its yichud, loses its confidence, loses its coloring. Nishtana marisa, pile applying. Rabbi Chanina, what did he do? He crumbled kurta, a little piece, the gashta of the soil, Ubadik Ben used it as a sampler, without resorting to the whole mud and all that. He was a super expert. La'itale, Rabbi Shmuel Biesi issued a disclaimer. La'it means he cursed, meaning ba'askra, chas v'shalom, to be susceptible to a sickness. If somebody else copycats, nobody should copycat. He's an expert. He can do it that way, but otherwise you have to follow the instructions to the T. Return to our base. Chanina could do it because he was a super expert. Rabbi Chanina of the Chalkim Kulihai was a super expert, but for the regular people, they don't have this knowledge and expertise. Nobody should dare do that. Speaking about Rabbi Chanina's expertise, because of his expertise, I stopped approaching this whole topic. I stopped being involved in the paskening on these shilas of red colorations. It caused me I no longer inspect dam, because I have a bad track record. Mitamina, mitayr. Whatever I consider tamei, when it was brought to him, he said tar. Mitaharna, mitame. Whatever I said tar, he said tamei. So I know it's not for me. Amar Belazar, Adam Sanusa, the Rechanina. Actually, by me it had the opposite effect. Because of his humility, that caused me to get involved and inspect, bloods. Why? Rechanina was the greatest Anav. Because he would be willing to submit himself to the risk and to go and to inspect and to rule and to paskin. I shouldn't do the same. So that's why I followed suit. This, the nature of Bavel, the environmental elements here, caused me to back off. I no longer see dam. Why? Damina, because I figured b'tivale yadana. I'm not really familiar with the local, physiological elements here. The teva of the people. I'm not familiar with what's going on here. B'dama yadana. How could I have an opinion regarding the dam? So the dam sort of is affected by the local biological, scientific, environmental elements. It's all sort of wrapped together. You have to understand the environment, understand the people, and then you could determine their dam. Also, do you mean to say that the determination on the colors of dam is totally dependent upon the teva, the nature of the local, environment? Rabba, understood, the science of Bavel, but he didn't want to get involved in the dam. He didn't understand the dam. So you see, it's not all linked together. You could be an expert in the local, biological phenomena and have great scientific insight to what's going on around you, but when it comes to dam, it's not a guarantee. Says the Gemara, well, exactly, that was his point. Koshkin, of course. Koshkin Kamar, his point was, of course, Ma Rabba the other betiva, l'chazid dama. If Rabba, who was an expert in the local, goings on, would still hesitate to look at dam, ana echsi me, who's even less than an expert, of course, I'm not going to. Ulu came to Pumbedisa, which was of Yehuda's town. I still came a dam l'chazid. They presented him with a shayla on dam. He didn't want to get involved. Omar, he says, look, Uma Rabbi Elazar. Look, even Rabbi Elazar, the Mora, who was a chief, Dar di Yisrael Havinais Yisrael, he was the greatest expert. But when he came to this town, came to read this town, he wouldn't get involved. Wouldn't encroach on the honor of the local Rav. I'm going to do it. Why was he given that special title, the expert of Yisrael? Because it was the story of this woman. She presented him with her dam. Rabbi Elazar was sitting there. Rabbi Elazar took a sniff. He tells her, you're good to go. It's not dam nida. This blood, it's a hormonal reaction to desiring your husband. Dam chimatu. Dam of chimut. It's not dam nida. After she left, it followed Rabbi Amir. Rami caught up alongside her, and he wanted to confirm, in fact, if the facts are as Rabbi Elazar had suggested. So she said, yep. My husband was out of town, and I had to pull towards him, and it's triggered this reaction. So Rabbi was really impressed with Rabbi Elazar. Korei applied to him, the secrets of Hashem are revealed to his tzaddikim. He was able to have this deep insight to determine such a subtle, phenomenon. Ifra Hurmis, that was her name. She was the mother. She was a non-Jewish woman, mother of Shvar Imei de Shvar Malka. Shvar Malka was a Persian king, and she used to send karbanos to the Beis Hamikdash. Rashi brings, and she adhered to Taharas HaMishpacha. Rashi says a Krevelis guy. She was very close to converting, so she conducted herself in certain matters like a Yid. Shadra Dama l'kamei de Rava. She presented her dam to Rava. Okay, she sent him a shayla. Haviyasa Rav Avadia was sitting kamei in front of Rava, and he noticed Rava is merely sniffing. Archei, Amar Lo, and he responded to her, Hani dam chimud, this is dam chimud. Not to worry. Amar Le Levresha, she turned to her son. Tell Chazi, take a look how smart these Yidden are. Kama chakimu yudai. Amar Le, she says, who says? Maybe it was just a lucky guess. Dilma Kesuma, like a blind man, Aruba, who chances his way down, from the second floor. He stumbles his way down to the opening into the staircase. Maybe it's just a lucky shot. Okay, I'm going to really test him hard. Hada Shadrele, she sent him 60 samples. Shitin Mine Dama, 60 different types of blood. V'kulu Amrinu. And he had a response to all 60. He knew exactly what's what. Ho Basra, but the very last one, number 60, that got him stuck. Dam Kinim Hava. It was really blood of a louse. And he couldn't figure it out. He was stumped, lo yada. But he had special heavenly assistance in the following form. Istayim also. He had special help from Hashem. V'shadalo. What happened was that Rava had sent her, it was a gift. He sent her a little gift, a lice comb. Srikusa, a comb, the Makatla Kami, which kills lice. She took it as a message. Amr, she says, wow, these Jews are for real. Because she figured he was messaging her that this dam was from the Kina, from the Laos. Yudoi, these Yidden, betavne. And the chambers of the heart, the libo, yasvisu, you're sitting, meaning you have such true insight, such chachma, such expertise and knowledge. She was really impressed. Rav Yudah. Mereisha, back in the day, I'll be available to check dam, have a chazina dam, until, given the Amrli, Imei the Yitzchak Bri, as soon as I got a message from my wife, Imei the Yitzchak Bri, the mother of my son Yitzchak, basically his wife, she told him, look, I tipsa chamaisa, the first droplet, I never show you. Let my sin alone. I don't bring kamayu before the Rabbana. You know why? Mishum there's a hima, because it's laden with fire materials, other types of excretion, fluids that were there all around. So she waited until the second, dose of dam to show. And once he got wind of that, he says, how do I ever know what's being brought to me? Lechazina, I'm stopping to look. Why? Because maybe if the woman would have brought that first sample, it would be tamei. So I can't rely on any shilas anymore. But in certain cases, I'm okay. I can be sure that it's a valid sample. So it's after birth. She has made tumah, she made tahara. Okay, so let's say by Izachar, she's been seeing blood. It's already day 39. She's tired. Day 40. After 40 days are over, so now she's back to normal. So at that point, if she presents me with a sampling of dam, I'll take a look at it, because in this case she wouldn't hesitate to bring it to me right away, because it's not her first sample. She's been seeing dam for weeks, so she wouldn't hesitate to bring me that first sample. She has nothing to hide. So here, Vade Chazina, certainly I'll take a look at it. Now, why did the other Chachamim not concern themselves with this issue? Taisa says, Shar Chachamim Sheiroyin, other Rabbanim, they weren't so machma, or maybe they were greater experts and they can tell what's what, even in situations where it's not the initial sampling, so they weren't concerned. What happened with Yalsa? She was Rav Nachman's wife. Aisa Dama, she presented a blood sample, Kamei de Rabba Bar Parchana, to determine whether it's a qualifying color. Tamila. He labeled it Tamil. Then she went to the next Rav, Hadar Aisal Kamei, Rav Yitzchak Beridav Yehuda. She went and presented it to him. V'dachila. He said it's tar. So first of all, how could she do this? Ve'echi avad hachi. How could the Rav, the second Rav, who presumably knew the whole background, how could he go ahead and change the psak of the first Rav? Ve'echi avad hachi. Vatani of a brayso. You can't overturn a previous Rav's opinion. Vatani chacham shatim. If a chacham ruled it as tamei, ein chaveirei rashi l'tar. His colleague cannot override it and make it tar. Asar. First Rav says something is asur. Ein chaveirei rashi l'hater. Second Rav can't permit it. How can he do this? answers Mikara Temu Yava Metamila. Truth is that the second Rav, initially when he saw it, he says, I can't say any differently than the first Rav, it's Tamei. But then she explained a bit of the background. She says to him, look, I know for a fact, I can discern this color. I know for a fact that in the past, he always considered it to be tar. Apparently today, his eyes are a bit fuzzy and he doesn't have that clarity. So that's why he took the liberty to make it tar. Even once she told him, every day, meaning in the past, he would rule it as tar for me. This precise color. Apparently now he's having some sort of eye issue. So now the second Rav says, okay, I believe you, and it's tar. She's not really overruling. He's just correcting, a misunderstanding. Now, is a woman believes? A woman believes to say, well, it's this color. Do they have the proper, ability to discern subtleties in colors? And yep, she's not paskening. She's just testifying about this color. This is the same color, identical color as. And you could say, look, here we have a stain or something. Hey, this is exactly. I had the same identical shayla last week. And if this turns out to be tar, then we know that what she had then is tar as well. So basically, she's not ruling, she's just comparing, colors. And that's exactly what happened here as well. She told the second Rav, look, I know for a fact, I'm telling you, this is the color that he always said is tar. That comes an interesting shayla related to the story above. Again, the woman is not acting as a Rav, she's just saying, look, this color, last week the Rav said it was okay. So she's just comparing colors. Mahu, can we work with that testimony or not? Tashma, nemenes yishalayma kazarisi bibantiv. Got a brisa. I should believe to say this is the same color that I. Well, shani hosam lasal kamo. Perhaps there we have to be more lenient because it's been lost, so we have no choice. But here, if it's right here, perhaps you can't rely on her testimony. You have to take it to Tashma. Here comes the story of the whole story of Yalsa, right? Where apparently we work with her information and rely on her, to sign on her ability to discern colors. Tashma nemenes yishalayma kazeris. Tashma Yalsa Aisel Damal Kamei Derab. Arbachana, the whole story of Tamala. Initially, the Rav says Tamei. Then she came to the second Rav. Other Aisel Kamei Derab Yitzchak. The question was, how could he do that? Right? Chacham Shatimei Ein Chaver Rash Letar. Right? The whole story. But the answer was Tmuyava Metamila. Really, the second Rav wanted to say Tamei because of the first Rav. Even normally, once she explained the Chol Yom B'Dachli in the past, he would okay it. But now he is having, eye. So the second Rav went with that testimony and made it tar. Apparently, she is trusted regarding, discernation of colors. So as the Gemara, it's not so fast. Rav Yitzchak Bar Yehuda, really the second Rav, had his own opinion. Agamari Samech. He was relying on his understanding, his tradition, his Kabbalah. Meaning, when he saw the stain, he said it's tar because of his own expertise. But he was hesitant to go against the first Rav until she explained the background and he was comfortable with it. There's another story with Rebbe. Rodam Balayla Batime. He was presented with dam at night, so it was a bit, dim, wasn't as light as daytime. And he said it was Tamei, based on his, understanding. Rabbi Yom Batir. Next morning, take a look at the same dam. He says, no, this is tar. So, now he saw it much clearer, and he said, this looks like dam tar. Himtim sha'achas. Chazar Batimi waited a little while, and he says, no. You know what? Let's go back to the original position. It's Tamei. Rashi explains because he figured that really it's qualifying dam. It's Tamei. Why did he change his opinion in the morning? Because when it's dry, it lost its glare, lost its redness. But if it would be, wet like it was last night, fresh blood, it would be Tamei. So that's why he reverted back to his original psak, nighttime psak, that it's Tamei. Omar, then the next thing that happened was he regretted. Amar oili shama te'isi. Oh, maybe I made a mistake. I should not have changed it to tummy. Fact is, it currently looks okay. And at night it was just a bit dim, so that's why I didn't properly see it. But now I see it clearly. Why did I change why did I make a tummy again? Amar oili shama te'isi. Oh, maybe I made a mistake. Why did I? Says the Gemara, of course it's a mistake. You're not supposed to go back on your Shemot. Maybe I erred. Certainly it was an error. The sound of a brayso. Chacham should not say ilu yalacha yivada tamei. Yeah, now it's dry, but if it would be fresh, it would be tamei. No, you don't work with that. It is what it is, and that's how you paskin based on its current condition. Elo amar. Rather, we say elo l'dayin elo mashein avrois. A dayin can only work with what does the eye see? So basically, why was Rebbe making a tummy? So the fact that he changed in the morning makes sense because nighttime is not really such a true, test because it was dark. But in the morning, once he sees that it's tar, he should have stuck with it. The fact that it dried up, who cares? This is what it is. Got to work with it. Says the I'll tell you what happened. There's more to it. Truth is that at night, when he saw it, he relied on that inspection, tamei all the way. There's no question that it was tamei. So it was light enough that you can rely on that and determine with definitiveness that it was tamei. So why did he change in the morning? Because the stain changed. Given the chazal at Safed Ishtani, he says in the morning that it changed. It lost its, some of its redness. Omar, so then he says, Vale tar, Hava. Oh, it turns out that it's really tar. I must have not seen it well at night because of its, because of the lack of light. Vale tar, Hava. It wasn't seen well at night. So what happened next? Given the chazal, the hadir ishtani, but then a while later he sees that it's fading even more. Oh, so he says it's unrelated to light. This type of stain, this type of color is just getting faded, more and more faded. So I have to go back to square one. And since it was tummy at night, that was its true color. I had no right to change it in the morning. Omar, hi tummy, this is a real tummy stain. Mafkach, it's just fading and lightening as time goes by. But Rebbe in fact would examine in candlelight, even though it wasn't fully bright. He would rely on his expertise, and that would be enough to distinguish the colors. Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Yossi, but he would check in a cloudy day as well. Beni Amudi, between the beams and the Beis HaMedrash, even though it wasn't so bright. The ideal way to check is you can only check between sunlight and shade, meaning in the actual sunlight it's too bright, it's not going to be, and the shade is too dark, somewhere in between. Rav Nachman Amar Vua b'chama, do it in sunlight, under the cover of your hand, so shade the eyes, and that's where you get the proper balance of light. So the final class of redness is the diluted wine, color. Tana. Hasharoini nidan kakarmeli chai. Mishnah speaks about using sharon wine, but you could also use caramel wine, provided that it's chai, pure and not diluted. Chodesh le'yoshan, fresh and not old. Omer Rav Dim, you cool and because tveria pashat. If you're going to check it based on wine, you got to use a glass from Tveria. Pashat, a thin-walled glass. This way, you can see clearly. My time. Why specifically from Tveria? Because they make high-quality, thin-walled glasses. Typically, elsewhere, when they make glass, machzek log. If it's a container holding a log, it's made of a mana, a certain weight of glass material. That's how much glass they use. Shnei logan, if it's a container double the size, they need 200. Zuz, meaning 2 pounds of the glass. because it's thick walls. But it's very pashut with the high quality glass in Tveria, half the thickness, which allows you to see through clearly and see that redness in a more clear fashion. I feel a masak shnei lugin, even in the larger containers, they use only a mana of glass. The colors, due to its thinness, the color is more discernible and distinguishable, and therefore it serves as a more reliable sampler. Okay, interesting daf about the various types of reds and the shades of reds and the manner in which the Chachamim would proceed and do bedikas. So we discussed the 4 classes of red in addition to the shachar. We spoke about the control sample colors regarding each type. We had a discussion regarding deeper or more faded. We discussed various rabbanim who would paskin and those who would hesitate to paskin. We spoke about the expertise of Rabbi Lazar, of Rava, who would just, by way of a whiff, determine the status of dam. We spoke about the possible ne'emanos of an isha on dam, and the ideal, lighting needed for the dam, and we concluded with the diluted wine sample and what kli it's meant to be put into. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.